Tonight on Point Blank, we focus on the Tema East constituency, and my guest is the Honorable Isaac Ashai Odamtten, Member of Parliament for that place, and also a former mayor of Tema. Hi, good evening, Honorable. Welcome to Point Blank.
Good evening, Selorm, and good to have me here.
Yes. We're happy to have you. It's been your first time in Parliament. How has the feeling been so far?
So far, so good, and it's one that brings me joy that I have opportunity to serve the many people and the good people of Tema East.
I see, and it's been a very difficult Parliament. I mean, contrary or unlike the other parliaments where one side clearly had a majority, you guys have had to fight, almost every single thing. Opposing everything. We talk about the e-levy, the approval of members of, ministers, etc. So how has that battle been even from the night of your inauguration through all the processes? Was that what you expected, or you expected that, the House would work a lot more congenially, and more, together than what we have seen, at least in the public?
Yeah, Selorm, I think that Ghana got a chance and an opportunity to helm its or her democratic credentials through a very strong parliament that should have provided the best of oversight, given the composition of the current parliament. Again, in the first time in the history of our country, we got government with a parliament and a speaker from a different party. And so these were iconic opportunities that should have given Ghana that enviable accolade of deepening what we call parliamentary democracy. Remember, our democracy is described as parliamentary democracy. And that is why when there's no parliament, then there is no constitutional rule. And so, again, fortunately for us, we had a speaker who wielded that high level of experience, one who saw it right from the beginning and had lived through, not just walking into the various parliaments that we have had, but he experienced both leadership in parliament as minority leader and as majority leader. And so I'm happy to be serving in the 8th parliament. Where I have my disappointment is the lack of leadership, ineptitude in what we call real negotiation, real consultation that should have given the NPP government a better appeal for a democracy that has good balance between parliament, judiciary, and the executive. But I think that...
The ineptitude in leadership, what exactly do you mean? On your part, on your side as minority, is that what you refer to?
No, I'm referring to the inability of government to have carried parliament with the real issues of consultation, negotiation.
No, but you guys oppose everything. So if government wants to pass, tax measures, for example, government thinks that's proper to help us deal with the problems. You will say no. Meanwhile, when you're in government, you pass tax, legislations, etc. So in a thing like that, how should government carry, or the government side carry you guys along? You have to fight so that the one with the numbers will win. That's what it is. They feel you will oppose everything because at Abraka, your headquarters says you should oppose it, so you will oppose it. That is the thinking they have, and it appears that is what has been playing out.
But they got it all wrong, because governance is about the people. And so if it's about taxes, I would have rephrased your submission. I'm not sure it's a question, but why I would have rephrased it is the example you use about taxes. Let's take e-levy, for example. You had a government that wanted more money, and they have procedures. You want to introduce taxes, you must go to the people and explain to the people so you can get some level of buy-in into that tax proposition you have. You recall in Parliament, our side of the House indicated that there has been close to no consultation with key state actors and stakeholders who would make that policy work. They thought they could have their way, just like when they had 169 in Parliament. And that is where I call them an inept leadership and a government that did not show real sense of mastering the act of governance. Because, Selorm, you had 169. And so you can have your way at every point in time at the expense of the people who gave you the mandate. Because if Ghanaian gave NPP the mandate, it was not a blanket check to say that because we voted for you, anything you want to do, go ahead and do it.
But the people liked it, and so they returned them to power.
Yeah, they did. But our constitution is fashioned in a way that tells you that every year, come to the people's representative and tell them about what you want to do. And also account for what you have done.
And we do that.
Yeah, and that is why...
the State of the Nation address.
So that is why you did not expect Parliament to sit aloof and pass any law they bring. Because when you bring the law would affect the people. And so the Constitution is framed to make it mandatory for government to bring those instruments and those requests back to the people's representative. This is where I expected government to carry the people along. And so on the issue, let me land on this. On the issue of e-levy, we said, consult. They said, we are ready. We will get 6.9. And then you realize later they have to now start regional tours to go and now consult. So you see the mismatch. You do these things before you come to the house.
But that's the right thing to do. But I mean, in our history, it's really not been the case. The NDC didn't really do that. NDC also introduced taxes. I don't recall they going around holding town hall meetings, etc., before passing same. But talking about consulting and town hall meetings, etc., how consultative have you been as member of parliament? Do you go to your people to tell them this is what is under consideration in parliament? How do you want me as your representative to vote? Do you do that?
Yeah, I do. And let me say this emphatically. Sometimes people will want you to mention specifically that today I have a town hall meeting here. But, Selorm, we have great opportunity to reach out to people and to make the things we do in parliament known to the people. And sometimes you can even take advantage of a funeral situation where you have huge gatherings. They give you opportunity to speak, and occasionally you will touch on sensitive national issues. And so we do. Just this month, during the Easter festivities, I got the opportunity to interact with the Baptist Church. They ended their Easter program on a Friday with a convention. And so there were issues like LGBT, taxis. So you take advantage of social groupings, places where you can, of course, if I have to organize, then you go through a lot of protocols. But these are ready-made residents, people who matter in your constituency, whether in the churches. And I use the church environment a lot. I use the Muslim community a lot. And I do have a review section, which I do every 7th of January, and I do in the middle of the month. There is also this aspect of our consultations where you get inputs. People write to my office. People come. Recently, when Ghana Water, had the price hikes, I had a number of stakeholders writing or coming to my office to discuss their issues with me. So it's a two-way affair. Sometimes you go to them, and as a member of parliament, where the people believe that you have listening ears, they come to you with all their. And I go to Ghana Water, I go to key agencies that would have to respond to some of the needs. The last one I recall is coming from the Sailors Association, the Seafarers Association in Tema. And I recall about last year, they brought a concern which had to do with their welfare issues. And I asked the question in Parliament, and the minister had to come and answer and to understand the challenge of social security issues, medical issues, insurance issues of our seafarers. And so I'm enjoying the interactions I'm having with the people. I guess people who want to see conventional way of doing things, but we are able to think on our feet and take advantage of opportunities that exist, especially when you are in opposition. You ought to. So
you've been in parliament for close to 3 years now.
Yes, 2 years, 2 months.
2 years, 2 months. Okay. So what committees have you been working on, and what will you say has been your contribution generally to the work of parliament?
Yeah, I serve on the Gender and Social Protection Committee, and I also serve on employment and state enterprises committee. I think that the committees of Parliament are fashioned in a way that would make Parliament more effective. For example, the Employment, Social Welfare and State Enterprises Committee is mandated to look at the financial performance of all state-owned enterprises. At that committee, you are able to look at the financial activities of not the operations. The operations may go with their standing committees. And so at that level, you have better opportunity to look at what we truly call oversight to ensure that if it is recruitment organizations are doing, is it just job for the boys? Are they looking at, and there are many times you would find that companies that are not doing too well are still very quick in adding numbers to their staff. And I think that is the bane as a country why we are not harnessing the potentials of our state enterprises. And so these committees offer me, but of course, I've been involved in financial reporting. I've been involved in accounting and finance generally. And so I enjoy that committee.
I see. Some of your people think that you should be a bit more, not sitting on the front bench, because that is not your decision to make. But they want to see you taking on issues a lot more frontally, because they think you speak well, but they don't hear you more on key issues, apart from reading statements here and there on matters confronting your constituents. That is your core job, but it appears they want to see you more advocating on issues of national concern. How do you say to that?
Yeah, it depends on how you look at it. As a group in Parliament, we do have our ranking members, for all the issues, and as individuals could also take, currently legislative architecture makes room for private members' bills. So indeed, one can take any issue of concern for the constituency and promote a bill for that, but as to where we sit and how we deal with some of these issues would have to relate to what we do as a group, as opposition, okay? And so I would say that I have made critical interventions. Let me give you just two. On World Water Day in 2021 or 2022, if my memory serves me right, there was a statement which I contributed and brought the issue of the water challenges in Tema, especially because I had been a mayor before.
That's right.
I was able to link that challenge to a solution that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, during his time, where I was part of a team that went to the Netherlands for the Ghana Wash Window Program, which gave us over $48 million to support water extension. And that project was under the Ghana Water Company. At the time, current Tema West was part of Tema East. And so Ajay Kojo being a new settlement was key on our agenda. And Bankuman, a community within Tema East, was also talked about. Since I made that statement on the floor, I pursued it by the grace of God and by the well-meaning citizens who believe in the leadership of Ashai. I got about 2 kilometers of pipelines.
Laid in the place.
Yes, in the Bankuman area.
Talking about water and sanitation. Okay. Talking about water and sanitation, people have talked about the deteriorating sewage condition in Tema, and so Tema East is part of that. You've been mayor, and now you are MP for Tema East. What have you done to assist the poor sewage and sanitation problem in Tema?
Because you mentioned I've been mayor, I'm tempted to look at it from a broader perspective.
Okay, you narrow it to your constituency.
Yeah, in my constituency, of course, that is a mayoral or a national, because Tema was built as a planned community that had that sewer. But remember, it started as a 15,000 populated area. Currently, it's over 200,000 people on the same sewer infrastructure. So what my former president and the visionary John Dramani Mahama, we conceived a total overhaul where we're going to take advantage of the low-lying basin between Adonoo, Tema West, and Tema East. There's actually a naturally low-lying area where gravity could even help in how we expand that front. We lost that opportunity because NDC lost the power in 2016. I believe if we had won power, Tema would have shined better than what we see. And currently, 2 of the projects that we did to activate the pumping stations within the Tema area. One is around the lube oil area. There's another one around the port area, and then Comty 5. But the lube oil one falls within my area. We awarded a contract for that project. 6 years, they still have not been able to complete. It took my intervention recently for us to see the new lines come up. And so having that history is helping us at least.
Do you live in the constituency? Because one of the things people have said is that you do not live in the constituency. Do you live in the constituency?
Selorm, I'm the only MP with a permanent office in the constituency. The only MP.
Not
since
office,
96.
not office, residence.
Yeah, I live. I'll give you 3 places I have. I'm a native of Tema, born and bred in Tema. I have my own property in the constituency. I sleep in the constituency. Of course, I also have my property outside in Comty 25 or within Tema Enclave.
But not in the constituency necessarily.
No, I have a 2-bedroom house in my father's house where I sleep. I have another single room self-contained in the community where I sleep. I mean, as for me being in the constituency, anybody who raises it, that person will be disingenuous. And so anybody who thinks that I'm very far from my constituent would only be probably just guessing. I live in the constituency. The whole of yesterday, I was in my office attending to people. And the good thing is that when, as an MP, you have an office in the constituency, and that office is not a rented property. It's my personal property.
I see. Why do people say that you voted in support of the new taxes? Why do people say that?
You know, politics must not make us lose our scruples. Politics must not make us begin to just think that everything is about lie. And unfortunately, the people we are dealing with believe that the theory of perception and lie in politics, repeat the lie over and over and over, and it becomes truth. I will not lose my.
So you didn't vote. You didn't vote in support of the taxes. You followed the party line.
I voted against the taxes. I voted against the increased numbers in ministerial appointment because, Selorm, it doesn't make sense. You see, you mentioned that NDC also came up with taxes. But you see where we are as a country, where we are calling on.
We need more money.
But it's not just about money. Remember, budget is always about revenue and expenditure.
I see.
So when you see people
that's your fault. You're a finance person. I mean, you're going to another election.
Revenue, more money.
Yes. You are going into another election. Yeah. What will you say has been your single most important achievement as member of parliament for the Tema East constituency?
Helming the various stakeholders within the constituency, making the NDC party attractive.
That's your major achievement as MP.
You see, the way people want to look at it is to play the delegate issues. But we've got to make the NDC party attractive. And that is why we have to consolidate the gains we have made. You asked me a question earlier, which reflects why I got more votes in the last election, is the attractiveness we want the party to become. And truly, most of the people are now willing to become full-fledged members of the NDC.
And I understand the mayor now, I mean, your predecessor is lacing his boots to contest in the main election. I mean, for the MPP primary, and then Titus Global is also lacing his boots, we understand. But you first have to scale your party's primaries, which comes off on the 13th. Speak directly to the people and the delegates in Tema East and let them know, or maybe tell them why you think you are the better or the best choice among the 3 of you. Understand who could be contesting this race.
The good people of Tema East, my 146 branch executives and branch members, we did it together in 2020. No individual can claim that he won the seat for Ashai. I led the campaign with you in your various wards, and we decentralized the campaign, and you own the campaign. Today, I come back to account to you. I have been with you from the beginning till this point. We've introduced programs that would affect us as party people and as residents in Tema. I'm very confident that the trust you reposed in me as I offer you leadership that you can trust. In the area of education, we have trained teachers. We have provided computer labs for our children. We have made intervention in all educational programs, including supporting education administration. In the area of health, we have supported health administration, promoted health screening and good healthy living within our constituency through health screening and even blood donation exercises. In the area of health, again, we have brought people from outside the country, from UK and from US, to support dental care, support eye care, and also provide us with free health insurance. In the area of education, recently and in previous years, we have supported our children who are going to school with a lot of interventions. And most importantly, in the area of employment, even in this situation we find ourselves as a government, where companies are shutting down, when people are losing jobs, we have made interventions both in country and outside the country.
Well.
Over 200 people are now in Cosmo, Pania, and other places in the free zones.
Well.
It's about Tema. My people of Tema, Ashai still cares.
I see.